Hey guys, welcome to another exciting episode of My Life. Now today, we're going to talk about something new and different in me. Hey, what's up? What's going on? Guys, if you're just joining for the first time, thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, feel free to hit the like button, the subscribe button for more updates, more videos, more things of me talking in front of a camera for a very long time. It's what I do. It's what I specialize in. It's my passion in life. It kind of is slowly becoming that. I don't know. I just like ranting, honestly. Ranting, raving, and talking about life. Like when I was first making this podcast, I was kind of deciding like what I wanted to make it about. Because it was continuing from my last podcast when it originally happened, season 1, which was only like maybe like 4 or 5 episodes. I just really kind of talked about my life and things because that's what I knew the most of, and I just kind of want to explore that deeper. I did talk about before, I did want to I was going to have a guest. That didn't work out because, look, here's the thing about him. Here's the thing. If you're watching this video, young man, this is the thing. He is in that high, giddy, just like happy to be in a relationship. Like he just started talking to somebody and like getting somewhere, and he's a classic romantic. He is trying to. The boy. All they're doing is hanging out together, canoodling. That's taking up his time and everything. I'm like, that's cute. That's all. That's great. But I'm just like, boy, we had a commitment. We still have to plan shit. Because I'm supposed to fly down there because we're supposed to go to a con together. I'm like, boy, I need to know plane information. Where am I going? Where am I going? Answer my messages. But anyway, that's people in relationships. I get it. I mean, I'm personally not like that. When I'm in a relationship, I balance everything. But I get it, though. It's them horny bitches in happy, giddy relationships. Stop it. Stop being so giddy. But yeah, today I want to talk about, hey, how you doing, Morena? What's going on? So today I actually want to get into kind of just unpacking a lot that kind of just ties into like why I am the way I am and how I got to this point, and maybe people out there can relate. And that's one of the reasons why I talk about such personal issues, why I talk about certain things that are like so close and deep to me, is because I know there's people who do relate. Like there are people who go through healthy relationships that don't end the way they want, or people who just like have mental illnesses, or people who have neurodivergencies. Like, you know, I always, my intent with making videos online has always been to make a person not feel alone, to have people not feel that loneliness that I have felt, that loneliness I've had trouble escaping from, because I never wanted anyone to ever feel like I did. And that's why I really want to make these videos and really want to make this podcast and really want to be able to talk more about it and form conversation and form communities because of it. So I really want to talk about something that's just really deep to me, and that's just like kind of growing up in a narcissistic environment, like a truly narcissistic environment. And I know a lot of people are just like, especially I don't like this friend once who just like, every time I say anything positive about myself, just like, you know, I'm just like, you know, I'll just like be me and talk about how like I think I'm the greatest thing ever. I love me. They're just like, wow, of course you do, because you're a fucking narcissist. I'm like, bitch, no, it's called loving yourself. Maybe you should try it. Because there's a big difference. I want to talk about the difference between narcissism and actually having a high sense of self-worth and self-esteem. And I wasn't always somebody, and when you are a child of a narcissist, it's very hard, or you grow up in a narcissistic environment, it's very hard to actually learn to love yourself, learn to be a person. So I want to get a little deep into that. But before I do, I kind of want to talk about like the traits of a narcissist and like the differences, like an overview. So a healthy self-esteem allows one to balance self-interest with pro-social behaviors and reciprocal relationships. So like, because you have a high self-esteem, you're still able to form healthy relationships. You're able to be interested in just like things that revolve around you, but also take into account of other people. So when people are just like, oh my God, you're so narcissistic, I'm like, are they though? Or do they actually just care about themselves? Like if you see someone like post themselves online, or just like talk about themselves, or just like you know, be involved in their own self-interest, that's not necessarily narcissism. I think there's narcissistic traits there, but it's not narcissism, you know? I'll be the first one to say I 100% have narcissistic traits. Like I definitely do, but I'm not a narcissist, you know? It's very different. Meanwhile, a narcissist, they are characterized by grandiosity, shallowness, a deficit empathy, and empathy towards other and remorse. They only care about themselves and they put themselves in their own universe. And in my experience, this narcissist was able to create their entire world and then put them in the center of it. And it is everyone else's duty to make sure that that universe keeps spinning. You know, it wasn't, that person didn't have to do a lot. I mean, that person did provide a lot, you know, but the love of a narcissist is also very different between genuine love. And that's the thing that just like really like, once you learn it, you're just like, wow, this was, nothing was ever real. And that had to do a lot of, I had to do a lot of learning because of that, and a lot of unlearning with a lot of traits I've had. So to get into detail, I won't, for legal reasons, because I'm not dealing with that, I won't be revealing who this narcissist is, but if you know me, you know, and just like, you know, how much they impacted me. Oh, I will talk about how they impacted me. I won't go into personal details per se, but I'm going to talk about just like the things that really affected me and like my side of things, you know, growing up in this environment where I'm just like, everything was poopy. You know, I always talk about mom, just like, I mean, your childhood wasn't that bad, baby. And I'm just like, girl, we've been through it. Like, do you see that your unhealthy habits? Do you see my unhealthy habits? Girl, you know how much I joke about all the time. I'm like, none of this is healthy. Like, it wasn't great. Especially, you know, when you grow up in a traumatic childhood, the funny thing about that is you remember things in time lapses. Like my sister and my brother they're both older than me. They'll tell me things that happen. I'm just like, I have no recollection. Because I saw a meme before, just like, oh, you know, when you have a traumatic childhood, you'll remember like bits and pieces, like certain years, like one day you're born, next minute you're 16. I'm like, I can like count the years. I'm just like, it was 5, 8, 12, 16 onward. That's all I remember. Everything else in between, no idea. Just a blur. And not even all the details either. It's just like, no, we just don't go back to that. I'm like, I don't fucking know what happened. It's like I was a child. I was a little Andrew. I don't remember any of that. Y'all lying to me. You show me pictures. I'm like, that looks like a meme. Did I experience that? No. Is that me? No. But yeah, so when I was a young boy, my father took me to see some titties. But when I was younger, and just growing up in that environment, it's just that, so this narcissistic person, it kind of, because there was a certain level of just like expectation towards each child was raised relatively the same, but each one had a specific role. Like my sister was the athlete, which she's naturally athletic. She's very talented. And just like, you know, she can kill a man. I've seen it. Like, there's this one time some girl in high school was talking shit about her. She just like, you're funny. People still talk about it. She came in the next day like nothing was happening. Everything was fine. Next thing you know, blood on the ceiling. It splattered everywhere. Like, my sister went in. That was a legendary battle. Like, oh, legends talk about that. I'm just like, she's the nicest person ever, but when she oh no, violence. So she's raised to be the athlete. My brother was mostly raised to be the successful son. He was raised to be the son, you know, just like in the stereotypical way, you know, admire this certain person, just like, you know, live up to certain expectations that person will never reach. And I was raised basically to be the puppet. I was basically a blank slate. I was like, if you ever play Kingdom Hearts, Gion 358/2, that's who I was. Like, you know, because I was raised to fulfill certain tasks and be the gopher, just like the gopher. So just like, you know, if that narcissist person needs something, I'm there. If that narcissist person needs a task or me to go somewhere or an event or what have you, or a thing for me to do, I was there. I remember specifically like there was a point where it's like, you know, I just wanted to hang out with my friends and they wanted me to do the small remedial task, but I was just like late to hang out with them because I think we were going to the movies or something. And this was all talked about ahead of time. Like and I was like a child, so it was all talked about, all scheduled out, was already a thing. But then you're just like, you know, basically that person threw a tantrum and basically just have like told me that listen, you don't get a choice in anything you do. Everything you say is a yes. You do not get the choice of a no. It's always yes. You don't have a say in anything. And I remember just like, I think after that, I was just like basically grounded. And just like, I was just, I could only do tasks. I think that person did destroy my closet and had to clean up everything afterwards. And then my mother came to go and talk to me, basically because when you're involved in a toxic relationship with a narcissist, you tend to always revolve yourself in your interest, even away from your own children, which is, I understand. Like, yeah, me and my mother are cool now, but like, we've always been cool. She's a great friend of mine and everything. But like, there's certain things when you marry, or you're involved in a narcissistic environment, where it's like your life revolves around the narcissist, and everyone's life revolved around the narcissist, treating them right, making sure they're okay. Because like, if they throw a tantrum or if they have a problem, they will be abusive, either emotionally or, we always feared physically, and usually in the harm of my mother. We were always afraid that this would harm and affect my mother. So we would have to go through any task in order to make sure and avoid that, And even just like this narcissist will always put like the relationship of like that person and my mother, in our faces while we were children, to have us try to choose sides, to try to have us turn against her, just because he had to be the good guy. That person had to be the good guy. That person had to be the one that we get involved in, and that person we were revolved with. And that was like my entire childhood. It's just like trying to serve this person. But because of that, and because it was such a young age for me that I had to deal with these things, I didn't get the chance to develop a personality because I had to grow up quicker. I had to grow up fast. Like, yes, was able to like, do certain things. Like, of course, I was like a fun loving, cool guy, but I didn't have my own personality. And I felt that, I tried to develop one, but it was very stagnant and very late. Like a lot of my personality, which follows to this day, the foundation of Andrew comes from things I used to watch TV, like, just like I used to watch a Spider-Man animated series. I'm like, oh, Peter Parker, he's just like, his life is shit, but he makes the most of it. Oh, relatable. He can't be happy, neither can I. Perfect. Anything that had to deal with like a hero's journey, like a hero being able to go away and go on a journey and go on an adventure all on his own. And I would isolate myself because I didn't feel like I belonged, because I didn't have a personality of my own. And the things that I was interested in and the things I did develop in, they were separate completely from like my brother and my sister, like everyone else in my family. So like I just felt ostracized and different. So I like, instead of feeling different, I'd rather be alone. I'd rather always choose alone. I'd rather choose isolation. I'd rather choose myself than to be with anyone. And I felt like I was the only one who really cope and deal with my own issues and be able to be there and support me. Because again, my mother, like as loving as she was caring, but just like her priority was her relationship. And as much as she was there for us, much as like she was a great mother. She was a phenomenal mother, but her priority overall was her relationship. So making sure that relationship with the narcissist was intact. But by doing so, I didn't feel as supported as I would with just a normal, stable relationship or a normal, stable environment, So I didn't feel that much support there. My brother and my sister, they were closer together. So it's like, they would always just like, how children are, they're like pieces of shit. Those bitches constantly would just rag on me or just find some way to get on me about some shit. And I'm just like, y'all bitches. So I'm just like, you guys are mean. I'm going to my room and you better not come. You better not follow. And they're just like, bye, bitch. I'm like, I'm like, I just want to be alone. That is it. And it's not easy. So like a lot of those traits that happened affected my development. So I really had myself. And school, it was just like, whatever. Like, I went to school and that was like kind of my escape. Like I could just like be and interact with people. And that's where I realized like, I love people. I love the interactions, love to be with people. I didn't really feel like I fit in necessarily because like, again, I didn't really have a personality of my own. Like my personality came from a mixture of Spider-Man, Bugs Bunny, and fucking, a lot of Looney Tunes. I'm just like, that's the foundation. They raised me. Bugs Bunny's my daddy. I swear. So it's like, those are really the foundation, like what helped me develop, what helped me gain a personality, and to help keep me entertained. So it's like my personality is very, when I got to explore my personality, it was very animated. You know, it was very animated. It was very explorative. It was very just like a bit different than other people. And I'm just like, I'll admit that. I was a weird fucking kid. Not the weird kid, but I was a weird fucking kid. Like I was very goofy, very animated, and just very just like, hey, you want to be best friends? Hey, what's going on? But I did realize back then I also had I developed a fear of abandonment as well too. So it's like I had this best friend, and he was like my first best friend. I love that person. I really cared about him a lot, and I realized I was developing this like, I didn't realize at the time because I was 5, but it's like, you know, I was just like, I love this person. I really love this person. Like I'm just like, my feelings for him are weird. They were nuts. I'm just like, all right. There's like, you know, oh, I love this person, love hanging out with them, they're cool. And there's like, I really love this person. And then that's when looking back at it now, that's when I realized I developed is usually a trait with like people with BPD, developing a favorite person where instead of just like, oh yeah, this person is my favorite, I love this person, like, you know, having a best friend, a favorite person is somebody who just like, my entire validation comes from making you being happy. Are you happy? Because then I'll be happy if you're happy. Please, if you love me, I'll love you forever. Like my entire form of identity and validation projected onto them. And I've done this several times. And that's the thing about just like, you know, people who have like a personality disorder. You can work on it and you can fix it. Like looking back at it now, yes, I had traits. Yes, I had issues growing up that I didn't realize till now. But I have been able to work on it. Like in my current state, where I currently am right now, like who I am, I show absolutely no signs of BPD. So like, that's cool. Love that for me. And I show no signs of, I'm actually apparently pretty close to neurotypical. Besides the ADHD, I'm like, oh, really? Good to know. Yay, I'm normal. Whee! Finally. First time in my life I'm fucking normal. I'm just like, wow, I'm going to watch Netflix now and eat hot chips. That's all I'm going to do. I'm like, okay, cool. I love that. I love that about me. Yay, success. And also in a narcissist is able to do that as well too if they put in the work. So this narcissistic person had the ability to kind of create an entire world just with them in it. And if we didn't fulfill our role, then we were at fault. And we weren't making the other person happy. We were a failure. We weren't living up to expectation. And this really showed with each of my siblings, just like personal traits that like how we actually like deal with certain emotional issues. It really sticks with us. It's like my sister was like raised the athlete, and she wasn't really raised as like a daughter or like a typical way you would raise like a girl at that time. So like she is always on high defense constantly. She is always on attack mode. It's like the minute you cross her, she's like, I'm a bite you. That's it. That's like, oh, do your dog bite? Nice, fine. It's like, keep your hands away. My brother always has a feeling of just like not being good enough, or that feeling of failure that follows him because like he was forced to live up to expectations that were impossible and he would never be able to fulfill. So now he always has to feel like he has to be better. He has to be the best. He has to be better than everyone else because if he doesn't, he fails. So that's a trait with him. Me, I had to develop a personality. I had to develop my own personality, and I didn't get to deal with a lot of issues that I didn't even know existed. Like I was a people pleaser for the longest time. I always said yes to things because I was raised to always say yes. And my mom to this day is just like, I don't know why you always say yes to things. You can say no. Like, you have the option, baby. And I'm like, you don't know? You were there. Okay. So it's like, you know, I'm able to like do that. I'm able to, I developed a personality late. You know, later than expected. And I think because I was doing that, I was able to kind of like learn more about myself and it's easier for me to learn things now, just like about me. Because like this whole podcast, this whole experience, I've been able to like learn how I love, how I develop sexuality, all these other things, and just like how that affects me, what makes that me, how that relates to other people. And it kind of really just helps shape that. So like I'm able to kind of like take my personality and apply it to these new concepts and learn more about myself as I get older. So like in a way, me having a late developed stage of like creating an identity, it really just like of my own. It really just like helped, I guess, lay a foundation for like who I am now in a way. It's like the bright side of a shitty situation. But before I talk about the next topic, I'm going to go into these comments. CK Horror. Oh, you mean my first 7-year relationship? Oh no, when I didn't know about narcissism. Hello there. Oh my god. Oh man, I'm so sorry. It's hard to be in a relationship with a narcissist because a narcissist can be the most genuine, fucking caring, beautiful, successful, sexy person. They could be someone who just like promises you the world to lure you in because they're creating a personality that's perfect and catered for you. So you feel like this person's meant for me. And in a way they are, because they've created a personality that's right for you. And then the minute you get close, the minute you're in their web and in their world, they will slowly make things about themselves, slowly make things where it's like they are the center and your goals have to be to fulfill their needs. And then if anything goes wrong, they'll blame it on you. They'll blame any issue that happens on you. They create a reality where they can never be wrong because a narcissist can never be wrong. Because narcissists have genuinely low self-esteem. They're very, very fragile. They'll usually, like in men, they'll usually just like cover that with just like this whole idea of like hypermasculinity, where it's like, they have to be the man, they have to be this like, the breadwinner, all this other shit. And they have to be, or sometimes they have to flaunt their shit, just be like, hey, yo, I just bought this $2 million mansion. Hey, yo, I got negative $2 million now in debt, but we good. I'm not like, because like they tie their self-worth with just like the shit they got. So it's like they buy a lot of shit to feel something for themselves, but it's not really forming actual validation. It's not really giving them any depth to this, like what these things are, because they measure their success in just like their own self-worth, and that's it. Like, and their success comes from monetary items and just like, physical rewards, rather than just like the feeling of just success or the feeling of just like doing something good because it's a good thing to do. And it's great. And being in a narcissistic environment, it's hard because just like you genuinely love that person. You were with that person through good and bad. You want to make things work with this person. You want to make sure this person's okay. You are afraid that this person will hurt because sometimes a narcissist will manipulate you in a way where if you leave them, they'll kill themselves. They're just like, oh, if you leave me, I'ma die. If you leave me, this is the end of it. If you leave me, I ain't gonna breathe tomorrow. So good luck with that choice. Make your choice. You have the freedom to that choice. But I'm just saying I can't control what happens. I'm just like, bitch, you're the one threatening to kill yourself. You have complete control. What are you talking about? But because that's the thing. Like a narcissist will find a way to have any way to manipulate you. And any way to make you feel guilty for having any doubts about the relationship, which every relationship, even the healthy relationships, is going to have doubts. Like you're going to doubt just like, okay, maybe it's not going to work with this person. Like, oh, maybe we can't get past this issue. Maybe this is it for me and this person. But then you continue to do the work and just like be able to make it work. Like in a healthy relationship, you're going to feel this way as well too. Like there's going to be days where you're just like, I don't know if I can do this. But then, actually applying to work and being all right, you're like, okay, we can fucking do it. We can fucking make it work. It's just important to not be, you just don't have to fucking lose too much of yourself because of it. Like if you feel like you're compromising too much, like get out. But yeah, a narcissistic relationship, it's probably one of the hardest relationships to get out of. Just because that person has a tendency to being so manipulative in a way that's catered specifically to you, that it just feels so much more personal and just like taking advantage of your feelings, taking advantage of your love. It's hard to actually get out of it. And that's what my mom had to experience. And I understand a lot with my mother now because it's not easy. Like she knew this person before any of this transpired because this person developed and made a personality catered for her, perfect for her, everything worked for her, and gave her the life she wanted, and then took complete advantage of her, us, the situation, and just like cost her so much, cost her money, financial wellness, fucking emotional wellness, fucking an entire like decades of her life. Like it's it's insane, you know. And the person that person still walks around saying that like everything is your fault because it's not my fault, it's your fault. And I'm just like, you're insane. That is crazy, because narcissism is a sociopathic trait. It's a sociopathic, just like personality disorder. It's aligned with sociopathism, sociopathy. That word. I can't speak English. I read shit. Look, you as a person who reads, say something out loud, they don't know how to fucking say it. They're just like, this word, it means this. They don't fucking, I can't fucking tell you what half the words I say mean. I can tell you what they mean. How to pronounce them? Absolutely not. Look, it's Harry Potter still Hermione one. I don't care. Hermione sounds, that's not how you spell Hermione. That's not how you spell it. You're wrong. But it's really hard, and I'm sorry you had to go through a narcissistic relationship, because like I couldn't do it. I'd be out. I'm like, not me. All right. So Marina says, my father is highly narcissistic. I don't outright call him a narcissist as it hasn't been diagnosed, but if you know, you know. I get that. Trust me. And my mother, love her to death, is a toxic empath. Oh my God. Same. Only started seeing true effects of growing up in this environment when I got into relationships. Yeah, that's the thing too. Because these traits do have a tendency to develop in relationships. First, I want to say I'm so sorry that you had to go through that. And your child gets like relatable, relatable. Andrew knows. Andrew don't like it. I'm like, That's why I remember things in lapses. I'm like, But relationships are so fucking hard. Just because you have this like love for this person. So the thing that you do, and especially when you're a child, you kind of grow up reflecting the love that you see, reflecting the love that you know how to give, is how you kind of go into relationships, which is something I learned. Like, I saw this person, like I saw my mother trying to be a ride or die, be there through thick and thin, be there even through all the shit and the muck and what have you, when they could have left, you know, and they should have left, but like, you know, they didn't. And you know, so same thing with relationships, my relationships too. And because I grew up in an environment where I didn't feel like I had a lot of love, like I didn't feel like I had a lot of love like for me in that environment. And also because I didn't have a lot of love for myself, because I didn't know me. I didn't know who I was. I'm just like, who this bitch? Look in the mirror. I'm just like, I don't know this man. Get this man away from me. And I didn't have a lot of love for myself, because in order for me to like battle depression during that time, I convinced myself that the reason why you're going to stay alive, the reason why we're not going to be like, good night forever, is because I'm going to be like, you know what? My life is dedicated to everyone else. I was meant to serve other people, and that's it. Not me. It's okay that I'm unhappy and I hate my life. As long as everyone else is fine, I'm good. And that trait carried with me fucking forever. And that carried into my relationships. That carried into friendships. Like, I would just like, you know, try to make another person happy, even if it destroyed me, you know? And I saw that with like, even like current relationships, when like, I was like, you know, doing a lot better. These traits did eventually come out. And not with my relationship with E. My relationship with E was like perfect. But like with C, I saw this with D. I saw this with other letters in between. Like, you know, I was willing to give up a lot in order to make these people happy. And I'm like, you shouldn't do that. Don't do that. Don't do it. You know. And it's like certain relationships lasted longer than they should have, and other relationships I feel like probably could have been better. But I'll get into more into relationships and what to do with narcissistic relationships. It was Livy, the life says, it was internally blessed that my parents split 12 years, 5 stars. Great time. Honestly, yeah, because just like sometimes like certain people just shouldn't be together. That's just it. Some people just shouldn't be together, and you need to just learn to be like, I don't want nothing to do with this. I'm out, you know. But it's so hard when you have one deep rooted feelings for someone, or if you have a sense of security, which a lot of people, especially older generations, especially with Gen X onwards, is that they, even our generation, as millennials, they will stick with a person because they're comfortable, because this is just suited for them. Just like, well, I don't want to put the work. I don't want to go out there and meet other people. They'll do. Oh, you know, I don't feel like, you know, going on dates and doing the whole thing, because like I already did that. I was already married. That, you know, that last person, it wasn't that bad. I we can go back. We can make it work. I'm like, no. If it wasn't working before and you guys haven't changed and developed as people on personal issues, if you haven't gone to any practices of relationship therapy or any chances to kind of move forward, because here's the thing about relationships, and this is why I have a close relationship with several of my exes and people I've dated in the past and it just didn't work out romantically, is the understanding of this. You are not the same person. You are not the same person. Every day, every new experience, you change. You are a new person because of it. That is how it should be. That is how you learn. That is how you grow. If you ain't growing, then there's a problem. You have a stunted growth and you're just not developing properly, and you should not have relationships with anyone, to be honest. You should be able, you have to work on yourself in order to get past that to move forward and develop and grow. Because, look, like I said with my relationship with E, right? We were fine together, perfect together, great together, but we split. We split together, and the minute we split, I was me, he was him. We were not the same people anymore. And I will always love this person. That person will always love me. And I've said it before in a video that I will always be in love with this person. And that version of me will always be that in love with that version of him. Always. Because that's just how I work. But as we grow, as we are developing, we are different people. I'm no longer the person here. I'm the person here. I'm not here anymore. I'm here. This is not the same person. Same thing with him. He's not the same person. So even if we like have some place in each other's lives in the future, it's going to be different because it's a different relationship. And let's say let's use another ex for example. Let's say use D, right? We did for like a while and we were obsessed with each other. We're weird. So it's like we split, became two different people. We moved on. If we ever get back together, if we ever just like decide, you know what, we're at a place in our lives where we just work and it balances, I'm not this person. He's not this person. We're different people. We are not the same. And also that relationship we had here is not the relationship we had here. We are different people. It is not recreating the relationship. And some people want to recreate a relationship. And a narcissistic person will do the same traits that they did before in order to manipulate this now current version of you. And if you haven't learned from that mistake, you're going to fall into the same patterns and you're going to come back here. You're going to be emotionally stunted. You're going to lose your emotional growth. You're just going back and recreating something that wasn't a good environment and not a good relationship, because that's what toxic people do. They try to just bring you down back to a level where you were the most vulnerable in order to take advantage of you. That's just how toxicity works. Like, if they can find a way to manipulate you and take advantage of you and bring you back to that level where you are beneath them or little or belittled, they're gonna do it. I'm not saying that was my relationship with D. Like, no, D's fine. He's just emotionally stunted, but he's just an idiot. I love him to death. Boy, dumb. One of the smartest people ever. I think he can get a doctorate like tomorrow if he wanted to, but boy, dumb. But so what to do with a narcissist? What to do with the people who are toxic in your life? Like, you have this level of toxicity in your life that you're just like, this shouldn't be a thing. And I always say, yes, I very much have a fear of losing a person. And I'll get more into that later. Like, I have a fear of losing a person who means a lot to me, who has extreme depth to me, because like, even in relationships, again, how I date, I usually date people who have the best traits I see in myself and who bring out the best traits of me in order for us to grow forward. I burped a little bit. So that's usually the people usually the people I date. So losing them feels like losing a part of myself. So it's just like, if I lose this person, it's like I'm losing part of me. I'm losing part of like a part of my life that was just like so genuine and real and so cool and something I missed. And now they're gone. And now it's not coming back. It's over. And they're gone. I felt that with E. I felt that with D. I felt that a little bit with C as well too. Like all the letters of the alphabet. You know, the people who are the closest to me. And I feel this a lot with one of my friends who were like, I love this person more than anything in the world. If I lose that person, I'm not going to be Andrew anymore. It's not going to be pretty. But you know, if I lose these people, it feels so much harder than if I lose like just a close friend or just like someone who was cool in my life and just like, you know, we grow apart and just like we go different ways. Like, yes, you know, I miss that person, but like, you know, it's like life happens. Oh, well, you get over it, losing like a significant other, by the way, it's just like, no, they were the love of my life. They were everything I ever wanted. They were everything I dreamed about. It's a lot harder than that. So with toxic people, and I'm so glad I have this ability because like I've never really been able to be like a true victim of a circumstance, is that once I know a person, and I think it's because like I create like this deep love for myself. I love me. I know what I deserve, and I deserve the best. I deserve someone who treats me right. I deserve someone who like adds on to my life instead of bringing it down. I deserve to be around people who actually genuinely care about me, my growth, my development, and who I am as a person. So when a toxic person enters in, or I feel a person is like bringing me down a level, or like holding me back, or like not really letting me grow, I just cut it. I'm just like, listen, no, it's not working out. It's like, you are no longer invited to the cookout. I'm sorry, boo-boo, pack up your things, are gone. Like, I remember this person in college. They were a good friend. We were very close together, but they had toxic traits. They really did. They did things for attention. I'm not going to say what, but it's like they did certain things, certain self-harm actions just for the attention of it, just to be noticed, just to be recognized, not because of any like deep-rooted issues. Just like like me. Just like they always want to be center of attention. They always want to be like everything revolve around them. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. But there was like this one time I was like in college, right? So there was like this frat party from my friend. I wasn't gonna go. They weren't going to go. I'm like, all right, we're not going. That's fine. And then like I was doing this project with another friend. They were just like, oh my god, you should go to this party. It's gonna be a good time. All the boys are gonna be sexy. I'm gonna kiss them all on the mouth. That's an actual conversation we had. And then I was just like, fine, you convinced me. I'll go. I have friends there anyway. And then like 5 minutes later, after they asked me to go to the party, she goes to my other friend and be like, oh my god, Andrew agreed to go to the party. We're gonna go out. We're gonna have a fun time. We're gonna kiss the boys. And then my friend, who was just like toxic, she was just like, oh, okay. Well, I'm actually busy, so I have to go do other things. I didn't get to invite them. I didn't get to talk to them about it. But because I said I wasn't going to go to the party, and then this person last minute changed my mind. The next day, that person didn't talk to me. That person avoided me at all costs. They continued to do this. And here's the thing. That person already showed toxic traits, and they were already just like, there were a lot of shit I let slide. So I'm someone like, if you're a toxic person in my life and you want me to chase you, because that's what the person wanted. They wanted me to chase them. They wanted me to beg for forgiveness. I don't give a fuck. Like, you want to cut me out of your life? That's your loss. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm sorry you suck. But like, bye. I just didn't talk to them after that. I'm just like, all right, well, if you want to cut me out, I'm gone. And I did the same thing with with this narcissist who's involved in my life, who was involved in my life at the time, growing up, is that they wanted to come. I remember they wanted to come to my graduation, and I said no. I was just like, I have this amount of tickets. I'm giving to them. You're not invited. Point blank. I was like, you're not invited. I do not want you there. I do not want anything to do with you. And after that, every time they asked for something, every time they needed something, I said no. And that's when I really like grew balls. Basically, I'm just like, I have the right to say no. I can say no to all the shit. Like, I don't need you. You've done nothing but destroy my life, pillage my village, and burn my crops. Why would you do this to me? Such a nice boy. Like, once I learned, like, I grew a personality and actually grew, like, self-love. I'm just like, wait, I don't fucking need this shit. And I've been able to do that with, like, other people as well, too. Like, once a person's bringing so much toxicity in my life, cut them out. It's not the easiest thing to do for a lot of people. For me, I'm just like, yo, it's become very easy. It's great. I'm just like, oh boy, everyone's gone now. I'm like, I don't like you. Gone. Everyone's gone. It's great. But it's not the easiest thing to do for a lot of people, because like when you feel a genuine love or connection there, it's easy for a person who is toxic to like try to make you feel guilty, try to make you feel awful. And this is one of the things I kind of felt, not that I was doing, but like I wanted to avoid doing in my last relationship, because yes, I made this podcast. Yes, I was talking about like my relationship issues. I'm like, I'm so sad. He was my soulmate and I loved him and he was everything I ever dreamed of. But that person did watch certain episode of my podcast, they did know it, and just like, they were always constantly like, even though we were like kind of doing a no contact, that person was like, still watching my stuff, and I did feel guilty about it because just like, well, now this person's gonna think just like I'm trying to like manipulate them in some way, which I wasn't, but like, still, I felt guilty about the whole thing, and I apologized for my behavior, basically. Even though, yes, it was my business, and yes, they didn't have to get involved in my business, and also I told them it's not your responsibility to look after me. We are broken up with. You are free to do whatever you want. Like you're free. You're free of me. But like that person still really, they cared deeply for me, and they still care deeply for me. So yeah, that's like where I kind of like realize my life is going when it comes to just being able to cut out toxic people, but also when I learned to have self-worth, which is very important because like once you develop self-esteem, and this goes to what I was talking about originally, how like there's a difference between narcissism and having a high sense of self, is that when you have a high sense of self, you're able to kind of like know your value and know your worth and know exactly what you deserve. Like I told this person when this person felt guilty about us breaking up. I told them, I was like, look, I want to say, I was there. I got a Twitch notification. Ooh, okay, Tevin's on. I love Tevin. I wanted to remind them because they felt guilty that they were able to move on while they were still having feelings for me. They're like, yes, they're in a beautiful, great relationship now with a lovely person. And I really like them together. I'll talk about that. I think I like them together too much. Once I found I was non-monogamous, I'll talk about it now. Once I found I was non-monogamous, I'm just like, which makes a lot of sense for me. I'm just like, okay, probably do like a different amount of people. This, the person kept telling me just like, this person had very much empathy for my situation. He knows about his love for me, my love for him. And just like, he was willing to be patient, understanding, there and supportive for him. I'm just like, he's so sweet. He's so genuine. He's so kind. And now like that kind of helped me. That and a couple other things, like one being non-monogamous, and two, because like we were in an open relationship anyway, so it was fine. And then I was just like, I realized just like, I mean, what's the difference between you guys being open and when he told me he was polyamorous, he was possibly polyamorous. He didn't get to explore it. I was just at the end of our relationship, I was just like, you know what? He could have just had another boyfriend. I just like, it's fine. He could date the both of us. Like, why not have both? Like, the fuck. And I realized that I was so okay with that. And I realized, okay, if you didn't have a problem with him having a boyfriend, and this has a point, trust me. If I didn't have a problem with him having a boyfriend while we were together, what's the difference between him having a boyfriend and us not being together? And the issue became my ego, because yes, I have a high sense of self now, but I also have a higher ego. Like. And my ego basically controls a lot of my decisions, my relationships, my taste in other people. Because like I do have a huge ego. I know what I deserve. I do think I deserve the best. Again, if I see myself, I think I'm a 12 out of 10. I'm just like, oof, I need me one of those. I think I'm funny. I think I'm like one of the greatest people ever. Like I love me. Like I'm just like, I see me and I was like, yo, Andrew's so cool. I think I'm the coolest person ever. But I understand like not everyone feels that way about me. And I'm fine with that. I'm like, I don't care about everyone else. I care about me. That's my problem. So yeah, I have a huge ego. And I realized the ego is what was holding me back from moving on past this circumstance, this relationship and his new relationship, because it became about me being upset that I was losing his primary spot. I was no longer his priority. I was no longer the thing that he loved the most, no longer the person he loved the most. I was losing that, therefore losing him. And he was moving on with his life, which is normal and perfectly fine. Like we broke up with no bad blood, no anything. Like I still genuinely love this person. This person loves me. We're fine. But I had such an issue with him being with someone else because I was losing that priority spot. And I felt like that should have been my spot. That should be me. I should still be there. I wasn't upset that they were together. I was fine with them being together. I was upset that I couldn't be, I still couldn't be with them because they were together. That was the issue. And once I realized that really was my issue, was my ego, and I was able to kind of work on that, I'm just like, okay, I'm fine with them being together, because it's like, again, I feel like E and his new partner, they are perfect together. It fulfills all of his needs. It fulfills all of his wants. It's someone who he doesn't have to do any of the close work for. Because the thing with our relationship is it would have been work. it could have been fine. And I think we do this a lot in relationships. Like we always see like there's a good guy and a bad guy. We're just like, oh, like let's say fucking the Notebook's a great example of what I was talking about. So like usually you'll see like, oh, this person has two love interests, but this person's a piece of shit. While this person is like sweet and loving and kind. Which one to choose? It's so hard. And then obviously they choose the good person. But like, let's take the Notebook, right? So like, fucking Rachel McAdams is just between Ryan Gosling, this guy that she used to have a fling with, that she was in love with, and then fucking James Marsden, who's Cyclops, and he's fine. There's nothing wrong with him. He was a great pick. She would have been fine either way, and that's the thing. We always think that there's a good, there's a bad. They have to pick between what's good and what's bad. She would have been fine with either choice, and that's the point of it. Because in real life, it's not a movie. It's not as black and white as we make it seem. There's no evil, there's no good, there's no bad, there's no right, there's no wrong. It's who works best for you. And that is just it. And you know what? Rachel McAdams just like, you know what? The Goosling works best for me. Not the rich guy who treats me right and been with me the whole time. The sweaty guy who kisses me in the rain and big dick, huge dick. Good for him. I'm gonna ride that. I'll ride that like a Ferris wheel. Yeah, we can lay in front of the stop signs. It's fine. It's good. We good. She was living her best life. I'm like, I don't blame you, girl. You get on that goose. You get on that goose thing. And that's the same situation with me and E. Overall, E would have been fine with either me or his new partner. If he chose me, it would have been a lot more work. We were able to get through it, and we would have been fine. With his new partner, it's a lot less work. It's someone who's right there and convenient for him. It's someone who fulfills a lot of his needs and wants. Because, like, again, he likes to be more of the assertive one, just like he's more like, he has that machismo mentality, and that this person's perfect for him. Like, he's sweet, he's genuine, he's kind, he's great, love him to death. I really like him, which is, again, another problem. Because, after he was telling me just like, all these things about his new partner and just like how, he was really good and just like really understanding of the whole situation. And just like, he's also like fearful of like something similar of like that happening to him. And I felt really bad for him. I felt empathetic. I actually wrote E an apology for his partner because I didn't want to put him through any of that. I'm sorry that I was so involved in their relationship. And so like unintentionally, I wasn't like, trying to like insert myself, but like his feelings for me still impacted their relationship, and I felt bad about that. So I wanted to send a personal apology. And I really like them together. Every time I see them together, I really think they're cute. And I'm just like, damn, I went from being jealous, just like, I wish that was me, to like, let me in this. Come on, you can have a third. And I realized that I'm just like, all right, maybe because we officially decided like we'll take a break from each other. And I'm just like, maybe that's for the best. Cause I'm like, I don't think wanting to get involved in your ex's current relationship when he's trying to get over you is the move, Andrew. Because I'm just like, I kind of like him too. I'm just like, Andrew, why are you so messy? I'm just like, you know what? That's fine. They could be a third. It could be a third. Now y'all can date. We can date. It's fine. We can all date. Yo, let's move in together. Let's just do it. Let's do the whole thing. Let's the whole throuple. And I'm just like, I should step away. Yeah, you're right. Let's take a break. I see them together. I'm just like, aw, my boyfriends. I'm just like, all right, I gotta stop. Be good. Y'all have fun. Y'all enjoy your life. Be happy. Because that's like, even in a non-monogamous relationship, you need time to develop a monogamous relationship with a partner before you explore outwards. Either way, I'm just like, I gotta not be involved in any of this. I'm gonna let you guys live your life. If we happen to meet somewhere in the future, cool. But until then, enjoy your life. Because no, Andrew, don't do it. But anyway, so like I was saying, when it comes to narcissism, that's what we were talking about, and having a high sense of esteem, there is bits of narcissism and narcissistic traits with having a high sense of esteem. I wrote it down. Hold on, I took notes. Let me write them. All right, so there's a bit of a spectrum. There's obviously people who are like clinically narcissistic, And there's people who would like, have just normal sense of self-esteem and then maybe some narcissistic traits. So like a normal sense of high self is that you have, your adaptive, flexible traits, positive sense of self, self-awareness, and confidence. That's that's just how you should be as a person. You have to work towards these things, and then you can kind of develop just like, okay, this works for me. This is who I am. I'm able to work towards any issues that I might have, reevaluate, and continue to move forward. More narcissistic traits I definitely have are strategic intelligence. So it's like you're able to like plan and adapt to certain changes. You're able to plan and adapt for any circumstances that come. You do this in order to kind of like not only protect yourselves, but also just be aware of current situations that might be going on or that could happen. I do this a lot. Like every circumstance, I'm like, all right, if this happens, we have contingency plans out the wazoo. I'm like Batman. I have a computer full of shit. Like when my best friend told me that she might be getting engaged, actually not might, she's getting engaged, because they went to go pick out the ring. I'm just like, I've been waiting for this day. I'm just like, I'm just like, yo, I have binders ready for your marriage. I'm like, I won't stop at nothing to make sure this is the best day of your life. We're getting married. She's like, okay, thank you. You're going to be so happy. It's going to be great. I'm like, look, I'm gonna be a different person during this time. I'm sorry. Like her getting married is like a big thing for me because we're getting married. It's us. They are a visionary, a leader, a natural leader, and a partner. So it's like they're able to kind of like take charge of situations. They're able to lead a team if they need to. They're able to take charge, make decisions, and just like be able to provide when the other person can't. So it's like that person is definitely me. I do that shit all the time. Like if which is one of the issues with me and E, is that I was able to do these things, and like they like to be someone who can provide and can do these things for another person, and have to be equal in a way that also lets them feel like more of a man, which I'm just like, we're both men though. What are you talking about? But that's them. I understand that, but that's just who I am. I'm someone who I can take charge. I'm very stubborn. Once I have my mindset to something, I'm just like, I'm gonna fucking do it. And I do know I have these traits, and I'm aware that these traits are, they could be seen as narcissistic. I do have a high sense of love for myself. I do have a high sense of worth, but that also does protect me from making certain choices and circumstances that, will affect someone with a low sense of self-esteem. Like I said before, like people with low sense of worth, they will kind of just settle for anything, but also be self-sabotage. And when you're a narcissistic person or a toxic person, you do usually have naturally a low sense of self. And you cover that up with just like, either hypermasculinity or being more dominant or like being able to manipulate another person because it's either out of form of spite, jealousy, or unhappiness with yourself. And I've noticed this a lot with this narcissistic person. Also, people who show narcissistic traits. It's hard to say narcissist a bunch of times because after a while you start like, I have a slur. So after a while it's like, and I'm just like, y'all gotta stop. Or these damn S's and C's. It was hard for me to spell narcissism. That's a lot of, there's a lot of isms. That's a lot of word. There's a lot of word in that word. I can't do all that. People are trying to learn English. I'm like, how? If you came to this country and learned English, you deserve every award possible. Like my degree, one of my degrees is literally in literary science, specifically for screenplay writing and script writing. I'm like, how the fuck did that happen? Me? I can write you a 10-page essay on just like neurotypical behavior. Like, will I spell it right? No. Absolutely not. But anyway, so like I am aware of like these traits. And also with I was talking about low sense of worth. They have a habit of, even if they don't settle for anything, if they don't settle for things that they feel is beneath them or just like, not at their level, which is good, they have a tendency of self-sabotaging, which I have seen before where it's like, I know somebody who just like, they may not settle for just anything unless they're just like looking for a quick fling or just like, I wasn't looking for anything, but maybe this could be something. I'm like, it's not something. It's not. Just stop telling yourself that. It's not something. But they have a habit of, or at least they had the habit before, of self-sabotaging, where just like a person is probably fine, probably really good, probably like sweet, kind, all these other things, and probably fine, but like they'll find something or one thing that's probably wrong about them, or something that they don't deem of value to them, even though nothing is wrong with them really. They just like have maybe one quirk. Maybe they just like, after they laugh, they go just a little comes out, or like something like small like that. They'll be like, oh, I can't be with this forever. I can't be this with the next 30 years. This is not what I see in my future. When I put my mood board together, this was not it. This is not the man I deserve. I'm walking away from this. I'm like, you threw out a whole man who's fine. He's 6'2". He has a good job. Great teeth. Fucking a dazzling smile. Fucking beautiful eyes. Great body. And you threw him away because he went once? You... Girl. Get him back. Get that number back. Because like people with low sense of self-worth don't feel worthy in a way of like something that's good for them, something they know they can actually like want to be with, or they feel that feeling of jealousy. Just like they're jealous of this person, they're jealous of a certain circumstance, they're jealous of a certain person, or they're jealous of their partner. And I've noticed this with a lot with my relationship with D. Because D, again, I say, and my mom still hopes that we get together. My mom's still just like, she's so team D. Out of all my exes, she just like, yo, you hear from David? I'm like, fuck, you hear from D? Whatever. You hear from D? I'm just like, no, we don't really talk like that. I mean, every now and then we'll like catch up, but that's about it. But she'll be like, she loves that train. She loves that train. She met him once. She's like, can I make you fried chicken? Like, she loves that man. But the thing is, the problem with me and D is the fact that, and this is something that he knows he has, something he's working on, is that he has a low sense of self-worth. Because of multiple reasons in his life, multiple experiences, his upbringing and everything, is that he always felt that I was more of a competitor than a companion. That I was someone he had to compete with in order to, instead of like growing with. And that was the main issue. Because there are traits about me that I just do things because I want to do the right thing. I just do things because it feels good, do things because it's right. And he just has to feel like he's the better person. He's the better of. So when you have low self-esteem and you're living with this person, or you know this person, or in a relationship with this person who has a high sense of self-worth and knows who they are and just like loves themselves, you're going to develop either a inferiority complex with yourself because you don't feel that level of love for yourself yet, or you're going to develop like this extreme jealousy towards this person rather than actually just like having to grow. And that can lead to toxic behaviors, because the thing you want to do next is either you're going to try to grow and develop, which you should, or you're going to try to bring down that person to your level. Like if that person makes you feel little then by them just being them, so you're going to try to bring them back down. You're going to keep them grounded as possible in order to like make yourself feel of worth and of value. And I did notice that a little bit with like certain traits of D, where it's like the small backhanded comments, nothing big, but I was just like, all right, watch it, bud. Like funny, but I mean, he's funny, but he's hilarious. He's one of the funniest people I ever dated. But I was like, all right, watch your ass though. Just because you want to bring someone down to your level if you're not feeling of equal. When instead of just growing with that person and allowing yourself to be vulnerable. And I noticed that a lot with people with low sense of self-esteem, is that they don't want to, well, not that they don't want to, but they can't really like develop emotionally at a vulnerable level where they can let anyone in. And unless you're able to let people into your life and let people into your headspace and let people actually like try to help you and try to bring you up and just like be there to support you as you're working on yourself, you're never going to grow. You're always going to be the same, and you're going to fall into repetitive patterns. You're going to feel like you're dating the same people. You're not going to really feel anything real and deep. Because the thing with D, and I love him to death, he will be the first one to drop a person, like even in like new relationships. He normally dates someone for like maybe 2-3 months, 4 at max. But he'll dump somebody once the relationship gets real, once there's actual issues, once there's development, once the honeymoon phase is over. because it's just like it's becoming real. I have to actually apply the work. I have to grow and develop with this person. I don't want it. Get it away from me. No, we're done. Because then it becomes that person has an issue rather than we have to work on this issue together, you know? So I always feel bad because, like, you know, you're never going to develop a healthy relationship unless you're able to grow past that and actually, like, understand yourself and understand that with a relationship, you have to kind of be able to allow growth. So this question comes from, comment comes from Marina. What do you see as the effects of growing up with a narcissist in your life personally? Ooh, okay. I answered this a little bit, but I can get more into detail. Well, growing up with a narcissist, like, the whole biggest thing is people pleasing. I always said yes to things, and even now I will still say yes to things when I'm overwhelmed and overworked. I'm just like, I know I can't take on another task, but I'm like, all right, I guess I'll do this one thing when I really don't have the time for it, and that always shoots me in the foot because I'm just like, I'm tired. I haven't bathed in 3 days. Help. So that's something still a work in progress. I'm not a complete people pleaser now. Like, I'll say no to things all the time or just not fucking go if there's like a thing that I really don't want to be at, but, like, you know, I still say yes more than I should. But it was the whole sense of no identity. I wasn't able to grow an identity until much later on, and that really affected me a lot in my teens, a lot in my early 20s, and it was hard to kind of like get a sense of like who I was. And I think a lot of my personality traits, I kept trying to reflect off people because, like, I didn't know who I was. I really didn't have an identity. So I'm just like, who the fuck am I? So when I met different people, I try to reflect their personality and, like, it's like taking their best traits and then it's like putting it in me. I'm like, all right, well, I like that. Oh, I like that too. It's like, oh, you're a good kisser. I can be a good kisser. Oh, you're smart. I can be smart. You like books? I like books now. Yeah. Just like I started taking traits from other people because, like, I didn't have a personality of my own. So I'm like, therefore, I have to build one. So, like, I really built a personality off the people that I admired or the people who were, like, more frequent in my life. I don't think I had, like, a complete personality until, like, maybe I was like, I think I had the most personality when I was maybe like 16. You know, that's when I'm just like, okay, I know who I am now. But I wasn't really just like, okay, this is me until maybe 18. Like, you know, those extra 2 years of high school really just like help me develop it. And just like, you know, I just learned, okay, and once I was in college, I'm like, okay, that's when I learned I can say no to things. I have no responsibility for anyone. I'm my own responsibility, just me. I was living it up. You know, when people were just like, I miss home, I miss my family, and I miss going, I'm just like, fuck them all. I live here now. This is my home. I was ecstatic. I'm like, oh, I don't have to go back there. Bet. I'm never going back again. This is the best day for me. I was like, oh, yeah, any excuse to stay up there. I'm like, oh, absolutely. We are never going home. It was beautiful. That's what I realized when I was like, wow, yeah, I've been trying to escape my family and my house for like the last 30 years. That's nuts. But that's really what like affected me the most with growing up with a narcissist, and also just seeing how much a narcissist can affect the lives of so many other people. And when it comes to like my personal relationships, luckily, I haven't really dated a shitty person because, again, I specifically look for people who, again, like I said before, like have my best traits and reflect that back at me. But there are also people who just like, and the reason why I do that is because, like, growing up, I felt the most comfort with myself. So, like, I want to date something that makes me feel as comfortable. And that's usually kind of normal when it comes to looking for relationships, even forming communities. Like, we look for things that are similar. Like, you'll see that a lot with like the New York City gays. They're like, oh my God, we're going ready for brunch, guys. And then we're going out to the the Eagle. Fuck. It's like, yeah, a lot of them do the same shit and just like the same shit and have like generally the same personality because, like, yeah, duh. If you guys form a community, you want to kind of relate to the people that you hang around with. So you're going to find people who do the similar things, similar mindsets, similar things, I said that twice. So you're gonna find similarities with different people. You see this with like the gay community. You see this with communities of different races, ethnicities, even like towns. Certain towns you can see like, okay, more black people live here, more white people live here, and then there's an issue with the taxation because of it, and distribution of funds. Jesus Christ, I can't talk. And that just leads to racism. But we'll talk about that at a different point. But yeah, just like we'll see that a lot. Like we look for traits that are similar, and a lot of people like you'll see like boyfriend twins, or just like even guy and girls who date each other. Like if they switch genders, you can tell that they look similar in a way, because like you're just used to, even subconsciously, you gravitate to people who are similar to you or your upbringing or what you're involved in. So it's like a lot of people will date people who just like their brothers, their sisters, their moms, their dads, like, because it's familiar to them. So like they're subconsciously, they're like, I want to date someone like that. So like their partners either will look or act or have similar traits to those people. I notice this a lot. And I do the same thing basically. So like I gravitate towards people who remind me of the person who gave me the most comfort, and that's myself. So I usually date people who have like a similarity to me, not in looks, because like I think I've dated, well, to a point. I've dated people of a variety of different looks and body types and whatnot, but I will admit the last two love interests I have, people have said when I showed them to them, is that you guys kind of look similar. I'm just like, look, okay, we're brown and Hispanic and bald, but we wear glasses. Okay, yeah, maybe a little bit. I see it. I see it. All right. I know. I'm sorry. I didn't pick this. It just happened. Okay. We just happen to have similar personalities and look kind of the same. And I was just like, you know what? This is the one for me. My bad. Okay. My bad. Whatever. All right, Marina also says, for example, with me, I've realized that I have a secure, learning, anxious attachment style. I'm hypervigilant. I people please and very confident, conflict avoidant, and empathetic, often to my own disadvantages. Oh, wow, we're very similar in a lot of ways. Okay. Being self-aware of these traits has helped me become a better me to me. It took a while for me to identify these traits. Yeah, actually, same. I actually, I'm aware of like some of the things you said as well too. In myself, like I did naturally have an anxious attachment style, like because I was so afraid of like losing a person. I just wanted to feel love because I didn't grow up in a loving environment. So like I wanted to feel love. I wanted to look for love. I wanted to be around love. I'm just like, why won't anyone love me? Why? I'm 16. I should have love right now. I should get married. I've seen The Little Mermaid. This is the time. This is now. And I was like, I used to be like that. I used to want to find love, and I was very anxious, just like, okay, this is it. And I used to like, especially in college when I was first like experimenting with dating, I was just like, okay, this person's gay. I'm gay. So like, we're similar. So we're going to get together. We're going to be in love. I'm like, and looking back, I'm like, I didn't even like this person. I just liked that they were gay and they were an option. And that was it. Like, I didn't like them. I don't even include them in when I look at crushes or past loves. I'm like, I don't even like them as a person. Like, no, get it away from me. And just because, like, I had that feeling, one, I didn't have that high sense of self-worth yet. Two, I was still developing a personality. And three, I don't know what the fuck I was. I don't know what the fuck I was doing. So I didn't know, like, I don't know anything about the gays. And that's the thing too, like trying to develop a personality and identity while also dating, it's hard because like you really should have a developed personality first. And I know this now because like I'm 30 and I was 18 back then. Is that, I was trying to make myself more relatable to gays. I was just like, I've tried to make myself a little bit more flamboyant. I tried to make myself like the same things like the basic like average gay at the time liked. I tried to make myself like these things and do these things, but I realized like that's just not me. It's not. I'm not even fully gay. I'm like, let's be real. I'm like looking at me now and back then, I'm just like, Angie, you tried too hard. You tried too fucking hard to fit in just to find love. Just to find someone to actually love you. I'm just like, never again. Absolutely not. Like, you take me as I am where I'm walking. That's it. And I was hypervigilant as well, too, because, like, I always just, like, I think I had a tendency of, like, looking for specific traits and being aware of certain ones that would just, like, immediately just ruin the next, like, 30 years of my life. So I'm like, I can't be with that person. No. I'll never be happy again. But, like, now I'm just like, I feel like I was able to kind of move past a lot of things in my life and just learn, and that's why I was able to have and meet really awesome and great people, even if like the circumstances didn't allow us to continue forward into a romantic relationship and develop that into something deeper and more bigger, you know. But like, I've never dated a shitty person besides one. He's a pathological liar, but we don't talk about him. But other than that, I've never really dated a shitty person. I've never been around shitty people. And I've only really dated or been with genuinely good people. I mean, yeah, they have their own quirks. And yeah, there's certain traits I'm just like, yeah, never again. But, you know, I've always been with genuinely good guys. And I think it's because I was able to kind of like let down a lot of my defenses and be less anxious and just like allow myself to be more secure. Like I did, like I was tested recently for a lot of things. So I was like, I do have a secure attachment style. So that's good. So instead of anxious, I'm very secure about myself. I no longer have signs of BPD, which apparently that a lot of that triggered after my relationship with C, because I was basically trying to match my personality with his, and we are fundamentally two different people with two different needs, and it was just destroying me to the point where like it activated a personality traits of a personality disorder. Being with him was literally driving me crazy. And now, which is funny because now we're best friends. Like I love him so much more now than I did when we were together. I'm like, we hang out. He's such a cool person. I love being around him. Like, I love this boy. I love this man. I love everything about him. I'm so glad that like we were able to get past our relationship, because like during our relationship, messy, never again. No, thank you. So yeah, I was able to change a lot about myself, and it just like through, I guess, just experiencing and learning more, you know. And you kind of have to go through certain shitty parts of your life, and in order to kind of like develop into something like bigger and something more real, and, which is the unfortunate thing. And I feel like a lot of people who are, because it can go either way. You can either have or be given a lot of shitty situations and learn from it and grow and turn into a different person and turn into a better person because of it, or you can fall into it. And I think it just is a measure of who you are as a person. Like, so if you're given a shitty situation and you choose to be, you know, you choose to get into it and choose to blame everyone else, and you choose like to not blame yourself for it, you can fall into toxic behaviors, and you can just like stop your emotional growth. You'll never learn, you'll never grow, you'll never develop, and you'll always be unhappy. Or you can take this shitty situation and learn from it, be better, be more vigilant, and just be more of a person, and just realize that these experiences in your life were temporary and you're able to grow past it. And I've seen this a lot with two different types of people. And like I always said, life is all about choice. Life is just a series of choices based on the circumstances that you are given. That's all life is. So no matter what you choose, it's your choice. You just have to be aware of how you can actually interpret it for the better and choose what works for you, what works to make you a better person. Out of any choice that you get, it's just like, what does this choice do for me to benefit my life? And that's the best way to go about it. Like I was saying earlier, my relationship with E, he had the choice. He can come back to me, come back to daddy, come back to home, or he can just like move on and be with this new person. He chose this new person. It was a better choice for him. And I understand that, and it makes sense. Me with other situations as well too. Like when it came to certain things with my jobs and certain things with like my, even my early YouTube career, I had a choice. I could either continue working on my YouTube videos and having that be my main focus, really push that out, really try to form collabs and, you know, really try to like push that to be like the next big thing, or I could just push that aside and focus on just like my career. And I chose my career. That's why I was never big on YouTube. That's why, like, even after like I was trending for a couple times, this is the way back here. This is years ago. So like, no, that shit's relevant now. I've been blacklisted, so I don't fucking care. But like, you know, I had the choice, and I chose what was best for my career, what was best for me at the time. And even now, I realize with the path I want my life to go in, I have to make choices that reflect of what I want my life to be rather than just like what works for my life right now. So like, you know, right now I have the choice between like focusing on being an entertainer, working on entertainment, working on the things I want to do, going back to auditions, going back to voice acting, things I love doing that are passionate. Doesn't make me a lot of money, but you know, some things I love, or continue to live a corporate life. I don't want to live a corporate life but that's the choice and direction I keep going in. And I realize I've been doing that for the last couple of years. Like, I'm just like, I keep making the same choice. I'm not, and therefore, if I keep choosing towards the life that I don't want, I'm just going to keep living a life I don't want. So if I keep making choices that are reflective of the life that I do want, then the life becomes something that you do want. And that's something I've realized recently. So that's something I'm working on as well too, where I'm just like, I'm able to transition a little bit. So I've been doing things on the side, doing things as much as possible to audition, do more things, and able to make that dream a possibility. Because like, I do want to entertain. Like, I do want to be an entertainer. Like, that's mostly what I want to do. Corporate job is nice for stability, but that's it. I'm just like, I'm corporate life, not about it. That's not me. But yeah, that is basically the entirety of this podcast. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for being here. I will be, again, I'm so sorry this was late. Last week, I actually took time off. I just like, let me not be in front of a computer. Let me actually see people and interact and be a person. And it was great. Great time. I met up with a lot of great people. It was fun. I'm just like, oh, I hate computers. Fucking hate it. If I could find someone to do all this shit for me, I'm like, oh, fine, do it. I'm hiring everyone. Because sometimes I'm like, look, I love like what I'm able to do with us, our thing. But everything else, I'm like, just someone else can do it. Fuck it. Like, I don't want to do it. I don't look at a screen. I'm gonna go hiking. I always said, like, if I had like $1 million, if I had like $1 billion, if I had money, all I would do is like, I would do like some small freelance work on the side and just make art all day. I would just draw bar titties. I would just draw these big burly men with large fucking stacks, fucking wearing obscene outfits or like gym wear and posting that shit on Twitter. That's all I would do. That's what I would do my entire life. I'm just like, oh God, I can die now. I can die happy. That's all I want to do. I just want to draw bar titties. Is that so wrong? Apparently, I can't be happy. I'm tittyless. It's not the life I want. Anyway, I have to get ready because I'm supposed to go watch Challengers with my friend. You know what's funny? Funny story about this friend is that, remember, I made if you follow my stream, back when I was playing, I think, Kingdom Hearts, I had a huge crush on this guy. He was really cool, really nice, very awesome. This was like years ago. And then and I made a TikTok recently where I'm just like, oh, this person decided to just friend zone me out of nowhere without telling me. He invited me to a thing with his friends. And then that's where he let me know that I was friend zoned in front of everyone. He's just like, oh yeah, we decided to just be friends. I'm like, you didn't tell me that. But where was we in this conversation? So I felt like a fool because I thought it was like getting somewhere serious. I'm like, no, probably not. So yeah, we're going to the movies together. He's a good friend now, but I'm just like, bitch. Whatever. Anyway, guys, this video will be on YouTube relatively soon. Check out my Patreon. I have to upload more Patreon photos. I'm so sorry if you're following my Patreon. Photos are coming. I've been a bit delayed because of just a lot of work that's been happening the last 2 weeks, unsurprisingly. So I will be uploading soon. And don't forget to like, subscribe, do the other things. Bell notification? That's a thing. I don't know. Anyway, I will see you guys later. Stay awesome. See ya.